This is Steve Ridgel, and as most of you know, our daughter and her family lost their house in a horrific fire a few weeks ago. Lost everything they had. And I've talked some about that, and periodically, as we kind of get it together and think through things, I thought I'd just share a few things that we've seen come out of this. And so today I wanted to talk a little bit about, well, about people. It started the night of the fire. Their dog, one of their dogs, kind of woke them up yapping, and so they kind of were awake. And then they heard this pounding on their door. What had happened? There was a man about midnight driving down the road right next to their house, and he saw flames on the back of their house. And he stopped his car, banged on the door, got them up, helped get them out of the house, made some of the calls, helped initially with everything. His name, ironically, is Moses. But before he left, when the police and the fire department, everybody's getting there, the volunteer fire department, things are burning. He called my son. My son-in-law was busy trying to help show the firemen where everything was, but he called my daughter and Jake and Avery out in the street and prayed over them, and then left. Now, what becomes neat is we found out later we did have a connection, did kind of know who he was, but at the time we thought, was that an angel? Is that just somebody who is? But for him to at risk stop, bang on the door, get them out, help them, pray over them was special. Now that continued to happen for a long time. I want to start with saying one of the great things about being a Christian, you always have a built-in family, and boy, churches and Christians have really stepped up. Now Hillcrest is kind of our home church, and they have been just incredible. Raised a lot of money for Julie and Tim and the kids just to get things that aren't going to be covered, and that was really significant. I cannot tell you how many cards and prayers and food. In fact, Hillcrest, I think, is doing a pounding to give them some staples and food goods, that kind of thing. That's just amazing. But it's not just Hillcrest. There are other churches, that places we've served in the past, or places where different family members have connections that have come through in huge ways. Lots of our family has stepped up. We've got a lot of cousins and uncles and aunts and second cousins and extended family who have not just sent help, but have gotten some of their friends to send help, and that's impressive. We have friends from 50 years ago that have helped. My daughter and my son-in-law have a lot of friends who have contributed things, who have done things, just a food train or support or help or brought by clothes, and just done a number of amazing things. Even Jake and Avery, some of their friends have chipped in and helped. Even the guy my granddaughter's dating helped out. It's just amazing. And the prayers offered have been incredible. Now, I know some people, if you're not a believer, you're like, well, prayers, yeah, that's what everybody says. No, they do matter. And they've had a lot of those. And just friends, people who aren't even believers, I don't think. But they help, because everybody's made in the image of God, and God helps people. So the outpouring of money, and the outpouring of prayers, and the outpouring of food and clothes and support, and lots of offers they couldn't take. We had a lot of people offer furniture, but they went from burnout to staying with us to a hotel to a rent house with furnishings. And so they won't even think about furniture for another several months. But it just reminds me that really people are good, and Christians are especially good, not because they're better than anybody else, but because God calls them to help their fellow believers, and they do. So I'm going to tell you, if you don't have a church family, you don't want to have one just in case something happens. But boy, when something does happen, it sure is nice. Now, in fairness, obviously we have, Julie and Tim have, the Grands have. We've helped a lot of people. And the church really does what comes around, what goes around comes around. And so thank you to all the people that have helped. Just a few of my thoughts after that horrific fire.